the Art 102, which is a blended course, right? It's Arts and Society 2, or Islamic Art. So I'm from the Visual Studies department, which is fine art, but is going to be changed to Visual Studies. So, so this is your tour. This is what I will be talking about in the presentation. I have as number 1, course overview, number 2, accessibility and usability, number 3, learning outcomes, assessment, number 5, learning activities, 6, learning interaction, material, course technology, learner support, and concerns. I do have some concerns. Anyway, so okay, so this is the course overview. It's basically about Islamic art. I can't read it, just let me, okay, on the side here. This is what we do, examine the interface between, sorry, everything is moving, between art and society in the region covered by Islamic civilization from early Islam to the modern period. And the topic explored include analysis of artistic form and content, historical culture trends, interaction between different regions, and the impact of modernity. I will not be reading everything because so much.
That's okay, don't worry. No problem.
Okay, so I know, because like this is basically the introduction to the syllabi, the rationale, basically. Mm-hmm. So I do have like overview material covered. Okay, so just to explain to you, in the visual department, we are creators. So we do not follow books. We don't have books. We don't have, we just have a guideline to follow that is actually according to CLOs. And we do create our own materials within a certain standard. So for example, I decided to create this, another colleague might do something else. So this is my own baby, let's say. Okay. So as you can see, it's divided into in 2 sessions. The first session on the right, and then left, and then right. And the first part is basically introduction to art, and then Islamic art in the past. And then from midterm onwards, we discuss more modernity, although we have, like in between past and the present. So, and then I'm trying to basically create topics that match with the CLO, basically. The CLO, I'll discuss them later on. Okay, so, sorry, I am, going forward with the presentation. Okay, so this is the accessibility and usability. I use Blackboard. I will repeat myself later. That's the way we teach online. And you have, I mean, like in the course document, I have the first folder, which is the syllabus and the CLO points. The CLO points, basically, it's a sheet, is a PDF, which is the assessment, how students will be assessed. Okay, so you click on it, you open it. There is, for example, assignment number 1, 5 points, assignment number 2, 3 points, presentation, 3 points. It's either 3, 5, or 10. So, okay. And then I did make a video on how to familiarize yourself with the course, because when I start a course, I do believe all the time students know how to use. Nowadays, they become really savvy. They know everything. But at the beginning, before when I started the course online, they were asking, how do I do this? How do I do this? How do I share? My main question, how do I share the screen? So I gave them a little, like a little link on how to do. However, I keep being asked the same question again, because it doesn't matter. Even if information is there, it's, like they forget it's there. So, but never mind. So, and then how to share the screen with your teacher. That actually was important. So, and then what I did, this is visible to students all the time. So there is like, there are weekly folders. I call them week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, 5, and etc., etc. And each week has a title. So students should know what we should be discussing that week. And then I have not created modules, but I have created folder modules, meaning that, for example, if you can see, the first two are called prehistoric art, but one is prehistoric art in Mesopotamia. The second one is in UAE, prehistoric art in UAE and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The third one is art and religion, pre-Islamic, and the second is art and religion and mosques, and so on. So we basically talk about issues, similar issues, for 2 or 3 weeks, and then we move on, basically. What else? Yeah, I'm very visual, so basically I can discuss with you what I see. This is, yeah, I just said it already, the weekly number and the title. And very important, I want to say, this material is always uploaded, okay? So it's nowhere in time where students might not find it visible. So the material is accessible all the time, no excuses, okay? And yeah, this is basically how I do. And also I wanted to discuss with you, there is another, when you open the folder, the like activities, some of the activities will disappear later on because of they're timed out. It's normally submissions. Another thing that I do to clarify how students can see the courses, when you know, like there is this like side menu, right? If you click on the side menu, normally I leave it unclicked, meaning open. Not only there is a title with the week number 1 and the title written on it, but also the activity we're going to do. For example, sorry, I'm getting blind a little bit here. Week 2, elements of art and design. Later on, we will discuss the elements of art and design. We will discuss the analysis, rise of civilization, and they know that in week 2 they have an assignment. Okay, so that like one. And in week 3, as you can see, there is a there is a line. Normally this, I told my students, this it's like a divider. It means that on Sunday, sorry, no, this is on Monday, you will be doing a game and a survey, and then on Wednesday, which is after the line, you will be doing some different activities. So this is basically an arrangement between me and the students, because hopefully many times they remember, but sometimes they ask me, when do we do this? So it's important to clarify all the time. And this is, as I said before, everything is visible for them all the time. Like there's a screenshot of the videos, a screenshot of my material, and the assignments disappear. Okay, so this is my method. What I do is I gave them a deadline, and then the deadline is open for, let's say, a week, and then later on it's open for a few more days, and then it disappears. And they can't submit within the given deadline, then of course they don't get the mark for it. And this is, I'm laughing because I do have a huge communication with WhatsApp with them. So I have also material which is updated online, but when we do have, for example, when we have quizzes or material to study, I do the following. I send them an email, I make an announcement, and I send the same file on WhatsApp. Yeah, unfortunately, WhatsApp has become a very huge part of my teaching nowadays, because it seems that students rely a lot on their phones. So I do send reminders all the time, and they ask me a lot on WhatsApp. They don't like sending emails. They don't like to, I don't know if it's to do with, I'm sure it's to do with the online thing, but I noticed that many of them are really shy, so they don't want to ask things in front of me. Maybe they don't want to embarrass themselves, so they keep asking things via WhatsApp. And because of, you know, like it's a small group, then I allow them to use WhatsApp. Right, okay, so talking about the learning outcomes. Okay, so learning outcomes should tell what students should achieve at the end of the course, right? All the time within my courses, they are like very explicitly written, and also I communicate them to the students. We have 5 learning outcomes, okay? I put some pictures just to remind myself of the activity I do. The first one is recognize Islamic artwork in the appropriate historical context, okay? Then is analyze work of Islamic art and its use then and now in contemporary Islamic societies. So as you can see, the pictures start from prehistoric art and get to modern art. And number 3 is understand how art relates to one's identity within a given cultural context. Number 4 is determine the similarity and differences of charities and art in contemporary Islamic societies. So this means that students should have talks or should be involved with the community. It is quite difficult right now because let me say that, you know, like before we actually brought them to museums. We at least twice per term we go to, you know, like all these local museums, not the Louvre, because Louvre is like also the Louvre, but mostly the Manarat al-Sadiyat. We go there because there's lots of contemporary exhibitions. So we used to do this, and sometimes the assessments will be, the task will be create a video of this artist or create a video about this exhibition, and they would go to Abu Dhabi, and, you know, like, especially with the male class, it would be really fun to do. But recently it's been so difficult and challenging, and what we do, we follow things online. We follow, for example, tool, we follow, for example, I don't know, virtual shows. And I do see the interaction has lowered because again, students do not ask questions. It's really hard to push them to be active, let's say. Okay, so this is basically what we try to do now, but I found some ways anyway. Number 5 is generate writing assignments about current issue in Islamic art. So this is an example of one of the assignments. Well, I'll explain this later, but these are the CLO. And when I do create an activity, I always try to center on the CLO. In the midterm and in the final, it's quite difficult because there is an accumulation of assessments, but the activities are very specific to one specific learning objective. And what we do also with the learning objective is, I mean, I do, you know, like I not only is written across the syllabus, but also when I create an activity, I call it, for example, assignment 1 and LO2, learning objective 2, and I write it here. I write it just below the activity. Very little, analyze work of Islamic art, and I tell them today you will be learning how to, you know, assess Islamic art. Whether they understand this or not, I tell them all the time. That is good for them because it puts the whole activity into context. And then, of course, when I do the grid, I can see, you know, like when the activity is uploaded as a mark in the virtual blackboard in the assessment, you can see the CLO, and I can transport them into the loams. I also took a screenshot of the loams. So this is the previous assessment from the previous course. I only had three courses since I started. I started actually 4 years ago, UAU. So this Islamic art course, it's not recent, but I'm the only one teaching it because for some reason nobody wanted to teach it, and it's not as regular as the other classes. So it's not that popular. It's not like drawing classes. We have very popular classes and we have less popular classes, okay, as usual. This is, I think it's gaining a reputation now because it's being promoted more and more and more, but the number of people enrolling in this course is always lower than others. For example, all the students want to do drawing because they drawing is fun, you know, and also there is this like stereotype about art where art is, it's easy, where drawing is fun, and they think they can do whatever they want, which is not true, unfortunately. And then the theoretical classes, the theoretical classes are a little bit more, you know, like hard, because they have to study. Now, what to say then?
Everybody wants to do the fun stuff and nobody wants to do the theory behind it, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, with our minor, this is the problem, basically, because art, they think it's fun. Okay, this is a major problem here, because they come to the course and we are doing this assessment, we recruit students and we think, you know, like, you're a good candidate. And to be honest with you, the standards are pretty low. I mean, like, if you apply to an art institution everywhere in the world, you need to show that you're capable of doing stuff with us, whereas here you have to show minimum capabilities. So we do have people who are really enthusiastic, and they come to us and they think they can do you know, like that this is really easy, and unfortunately it's not. And we don't fail many, but there is a number of failing students just because they forget to submit, they forget to interact, they forget not to interact, never, but what I'm saying, they are not up to standard. So this is not what I was meant to say, but this is, I don't know what I started this, but this is within the context. So the CLO were created not by me. I mean, these were like created long time ago, before I came here to this course. And, you know, like, for example, we need to assess the students with these CLOs, and some of them, if it was me, I would like to restructure them. Now we are going to a restructuring of the minor. We're trying to turn it into a major. It's been a long process. It's been 2 years that my colleague and I are working on the process of, you know, like, restructuring the course. So now that I've done CLO myself, I can see that some of it should be changed, but there's also, it's a task that is a challenge, because then they need to be, you know, like, going to Curriculum and be approved. And we're taking care of it as the major is being approved. Anyway, so basically my comment to it is that I do assess the CLO and I make the remark, but really the CLO don't get changed as yet. All right, anyway, so I'm still here. Assessment and measurements. So I assess them in 2 ways, right? I do assess them formally and informally. Formal assessment is higher in number, of course. So I do have quizzes, research, sorry, presentation, and assignments. So informal, let me explain this to you. Informal is basically the fun stuff that we do in class, okay? Which it gets also assessed, but in a different way, meaning that it gets assessed by the side. It's like, I do have like a table of, I don't know, like some spreadsheet with points, which my students never see. And this is, you know, like participation mark, how well have you done, how well you have performed in class today, how late have you accessed the blackboard, and so on. So, and then we also have like tasks which are done in class, which these are very helpful right now, because as you probably know, students are invisible. We see their names and they don't interact. It's really hard for them to, unless I ask and ask and ask and ask and ask, and finally they say something. But so I have invented this strategy, which is, okay, so today you come to class, you do some activity right now, you submit it right now, and this will let me know if you are actually present, physically present with your brain, or if you're present but you're somewhere else, because it has happened so many times, you know. So we do have like hands-on activities. We have whatever I call like hands-on right now activities, which I will show you later on, but these are generalization. And then surveys, they can do it, you know, like asynchronically, they can do it in their own time. Sorry, I've lost my presentation, which is number. 11, 12, sorry. I've gone back, sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. Okay, this is an example of quiz. Quizzes I use my favorite hotspot. I'm very visual. So for example, this is an example of hotspot. Click on this item and then true or false, multiple choices, matching activities. And then normally what I do is I put the lockdown browser, but for the normal quizzes, I am a little bit relaxed. I don't put the camera on all the time. Okay, so because it's hard for them. I mean, it's hard in a way that they have to study. And even if I expect a quiz to be easy, I don't know, like they never reach the top mark, meaning, I don't know, I've been trying also to, like, it's just a very interesting question, because I assess myself and I ask myself, is the question too difficult? Or is it too easy? And then what I do in class, I actually keep going on with the same information over and over again. Like before the quiz, the day before the quiz, I said, this will be in the quiz, and you remember what this means, and you remember that we saw this, and they say, yes, yes, yes. And then when they come to the quiz, still I see that they haven't understood everything, or I don't know. I think it's to do with students' learning strategies that somehow they should be improved, and also depends on the class. Okay, because I had a class which was amazing, but this class at the moment, the one that I have, is an average class. So I'm having an all right time with them. I'm not, like I could expect more from them, but I'm not getting what I wished. Anyway, so these are examples of quizzes. And also we do revise quizzes later on after the session. And sorry, I'll move on. And this is an assessment, an example of an assessment. Okay, let me explain this. So in the folder, they have their weekly assessment, which comes up like the first box, which is the assessment, the explanation, and the CLO. They click on it, and there is this link to the presentation, right? And the presentation, I normally explain them to them. I say, like, this is what you need to do. In this case, sorry, maybe the screenshots are small. They had to describe a mosque. Okay, so they had to choose a mosque at their own choice, and they had to make an analysis. Analysis is basically describe the visuals of the mosque and also describe the function of the mosque, okay? And then the interior and how the mosque, and a little bit of history. So normally at the end of each PowerPoint, I do have a rubric. So as you can see, you achieved not really, okay, good and great. And then this same rubric, it's the same that goes in the submission box, meaning that when I mark the assignment, then they have to, they know what they're getting, or at least they should know what they're getting. So it's repeated 2 times, once during the presentation. And if they ask me, I can say, I tell them, go please and check the material, go please check the rubrics. It's always available for them. Yeah, and then what I do, which is something that I would like to, it's the setting here that I've noticed, especially here, students need sort of spoon feeding. Like if I told them do a research and do this, even if I try to be as clear as possible, I notice that many students still don't understand. So what I do, I reinforce with visual. For example, I give them the PowerPoint with examples. Most of the time, I don't give all the examples because otherwise it's too easy. But I do, for example, I give a PowerPoint, as you can see here. This is what you need to do. And here is where you insert your picture. And here is what you do, this and that. And I tend to explain myself many times about this little, but also I'm very precise because, well, precise meaning I when there is an assessment, I go by the book, meaning the rubric says you should do this, 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 this. And if the presentation is misses this topic or misses the analysis, then of course you get less mark because you didn't read your rubrics and you didn't pay attention to what I requested from you. So, but okay, so this is another form of assessment that I have introduced. This is participation points. This is an informal way of assessment, right? So this is a little bit of help I give them before greater presentations and research. Like this happened actually a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I introduced a main research, which they're working on and it's a major project. So I asked them, in order to gain some participation mark, I want you to discuss the artist you're gonna discuss in your research. So just you know, like upload a little bit of information of this artist and explain to me verbally how you want to, you know, how you want to discuss this artist in your research. So they talk and they do a small analysis of the artist. So we basically verbally interact. I say to them, okay, this is important that you say this, or you should improve this, you should, you know, like, so this is a verbal feedback that I do with my students. And I give them because they have spoken about the artist, I always give them a 2 participation mark because they spend time in, you know, like putting some information down. And then I give them feedback, and later on they should be producing this huge research, applying the information, the extra information I've given them. So I hope this is one of the new strategies I introduced this year. So I hope it's going to work, and I still have to see the results, but so far they're happy with it. So, and this is my favorite. The hands-on activities, in order sometimes to make the class more fun. I mean, I think it's fun for them because I do have fun. I hope they do too. It's, we do class activities. Once we were in, you know, like in the lecture room, it would be actually, I think much messier, because in lecture rooms, I asked them, you know, like bring some clay. This is an activity of cuneiform writing. So they have a tablet, and I asked them, bring some clay, you know, like bring some clay to class and bring a toothpick, and you will be writing some letters. And they do have a PowerPoint with, you know, like the characters. So I don't tell them what this is all about. They do this and they start asking me questions. Oh, what is it? Well, we're doing that. And this is how I introduce them to Mesopotamian cuneiform writing later on, right? But they do have fun doing this activity. And I think it was a good way of keeping them entertained and keeping them, you know, like hands-on, because they like doing things like this. And also I mean, as an art teacher also, I like, you know, like contextualizing and giving them an idea of how people used to do in the past. So we have these 2 examples. We did also some vision boards, but I didn't have any good examples to show you. This is calligraphy. I had this student who wrote Ramadan Kareem in calligraphy, and you know, like some stuff we do before I actually introduced them to calligraphy in the Middle East. So actually they have fun. And online, which we did this term, it has been challenging because, I mean, the students have been really good because I could see them doing them in class. So what I do is I do have the stand, you know, like the tripod, and I basically feel my hand doing the work, and they on the other side, they should copy me. They should not copy me, but they should write their own letters. And then I ask them immediate feedback, and I ask them to share the screen. Now with sharing the screen, this is very painful because it takes them ages to share the screen. So what they do now is they send me WhatsApp instant images, which works a little bit faster. This is one of my concerns. The sharing of the screen for students takes actually immense time. And for me, because I want it right now, right? Because I also want to see if they're in class. So I asked them, okay, if you finish this, please take a screenshot, send me whatever you have done so far. And only if you've done it right now, I can give you the participation mark. Otherwise it's not fair, because they need to be following. So this is why the beginning we had like share the screen. Oh, miss, I don't know how miss is uploading. Oh, miss, I have technical problems. Oh, miss, and I'm like, oh, okay, let's make WhatsApp group and you send me everything by WhatsApp. This is how it's working at the moment. So, okay, so these are learning activities. Okay, this is basically a little bit of the same, but I have structured them. So we have yellow, which are class activities, which are synchronous. So we have games, real-time actions. This is actually what I'm talking about right now. I asked them to do things right in class, like look at this picture and write three I don't know, elements of art what you see in the picture, and they have to do it right now. So, and then, or the second one is also do an analysis on the spot, so they can send me feedback. Then the hands-on activities. These activities, the hands-on, normally take the whole hour, because before we set up, miss, I don't have this, miss, I need to get water. So it's like, it takes time, right, to set up. So, and then we do visual tours. Thanks to new technologies, this is actually an amazing feature we found online. Like everything is like Google Earth now. So we've been discovering some desertic areas. We've gone into the Jebel Lafitte, and we've seen how, like the tombs are made. So they actually like doing this. So this is also something that I've introduced this term. Outside class, asynchronous, they can do assignment, research, presentation, and forums. And in terms of passive learning, because we have, like things that they do in passive learning activities, which is me talking, we have the lectures, okay? So me explaining to them. But again, I want to make sure that, you probably know that the lecture is not just me talking, and it's me trying to interact with them. So at each slide, I say, hey, what do you think about this? Or do you remember this? And this is the most challenging part, because at the beginning, there was no response. And then, of course, I had to, try to find some strategies in order to make students be interactive in class, which is, as you can see, the participation points, the 1 minute writing on the spot, things that really make them do things right now and then, otherwise they don't. And then after the class, they can always go and follow up on PowerPoints. So we do have, like when I present the PowerPoint, actually, I'll explain it also later, but the PowerPoint I explain, normally I upload it with very little information, because I don't want students to get confused with the writing, because I know the material, so I discuss it. So I actually, by just showing the picture, I engage them into a conversation. However, later on, they will hardly remember what I have said. So I asked them, although I asked them to write all the time and make notes, which I don't know if it's happening, because they are recording of course, I think they're relying on recorded material. What I do later on is I do have a second PowerPoint, which I upload with actually a description, like some points, some dates, some name of the artist, and these they need to know. However, like this is a problem. We do talk in class, and like as normal, lots of information is lost. Mainly, I would say because of, I don't know, students, especially with this batch, is, I don't know, they forget information. They don't take, they don't really take note of what I'm saying, I believe. This is my theory. I don't know whether they do, and therefore that's that's why I also I've come to extra uploading on information and reminders, and this has actually improved. But you know, it shouldn't really happen like this. This is my remark. So outside class also they can see PowerPoints, reading, and videos. I will show you. Oh my God, I'm halfway through. Sorry. These are examples. So this is examples of activities. We use Kahoot. I'm moving fast. This is an activity of the virtual Jebel feeds. This was actually amazing. You just walk around the tomb, that's all you do. But they liked it, so. And this is an asynchronous activity. This is basically a reading about the roads of Arabia. We went to the Louvre and then we watched the exhibition. So we're given the PDF. And then I asked them to create some, is a forum. I put blog here, but it's actually a forum. So they keep a discussion. So they can do it. We discuss it in class, but they can do it offline, you know, like in their own time. So, okay. And this is always to do with active learning. So we do also inquiry-based activity, flipped classroom, students problem-solving activities, and hands-on activities. So you see, this is repeated because it's one of the active learning kind of things that we do. I should have used the PowerPoint here. Wait. Okay, so this is an example of an active learning class that we did, and it was like it was problem solving, but a simple flipped classroom activity. Basically, we went online and we followed a virtual tour of this Omgado. It was an exhibition, right? So we actually contacted Abu Dhabi, one of the museum in Abu Dhabi. They sent us a link. So there was this woman talking and showing the art, and the students had to listen and follow up with the arts, with the content of the art exhibition. So what they did later on, I asked them, okay, so choose now an artist that you really like, and you're going to present it. And not me, I will not judge you, but your peers will judge you. So we created this peer assessment where one has to present the work and two people, not all the class because it's too much to deal with, but two students had to assess one student. And so we create a rota system in which the first two, judge this one. And this is, I send them the feedback. And again, I get this feedback sent via WhatsApp. So basically this is, as you can see here, the little thing is the rubrics. So, and some of the students, you can see that they've been really generous, and some of the students have been really hard on the peers because some of them have take the middle, you know, like the middle, the middle line, which is so and so. So I think it was really good because they also learned, you know, like the question were, could you understand what the speaker was saying? Did you understand what was their presentation about? Do you think something should have been discussed, something else should have been discussed? So it was quite simple and well worded for them. So this is an activity that I like to repeat much more. And also this activity was really fun. This is an active learning activity. It's so we have all these PowerPoints, right? And at some point they need to come to a revision. And it's a visual class. So they need to remember, it's basically art. They need to remember picture. They need to remember to what period this picture is related to which artist, and to which movement. So I asked them, let's do a peer revision where you create an answer sheet where you have a number of, how many pictures, like 10 pictures. And you, you create a matching exercise, the picture with the name of the movement or the name of the artist, and then you exchange it to each other. And of course, it was really funny because they did a good job, but still they got some mistakes in the spelling, which is okay anyway. So, but it's something that also they enjoy doing. I keep moving on. Okay, so this is basically the passive learning side. And this is what I told you before. It's my way of teaching, which is first the PowerPoint is online, then I have interaction with them, and the lecture is simplified. Later on, the same lecture is uploaded in the weekly folder, but it's with more information. And then later on, if they don't want to read, I have given them this option too. I have a video. And to be honest, I given this option because I have learned to create this video with Beyond, and I absolutely love them. So I have so much fun. Sometimes I really get frustrated, but mostly it's fun. So I do believe that this is a very good reinforcement for them, because I ask them, do you like the video? And they say, yeah, this is so good. We can stop whenever we want. And you know, you explain, because of course, when you read the sentence in the PowerPoint, you not necessarily understand what's going on. Whereas me, over the video I speak, and I, you know, like I make example, I say, you see, this is related to this. And it seems that it's working really well. So they are really appreciative of this. So they have 3 reinforcements, me explaining, the PowerPoint, and the video on top. I don't know what else I should be doing. Oh, sorry, I'm going backwards. How much they can learn. Yeah, this is the example. So basically, the first one is 1A matches with 1B. So 1A is the PowerPoint, 1B is the video related to the PowerPoint, basically. And 2A and 2B the same. And yeah, this is an example of me interacting with them all the time. I ask them questions. So it's on the spot assessment that doesn't really give them any marks, but it's for me to know whether they're in class or not. So I ask them questions. So what is this word, chiaroscuro? Where do you see it? Can you tell me? And then you can see the interaction. Hamda say, oh, it means contrast. And Hamda is the smartest. And then I say, okay. It's always Hamda, if you notice that reply. So, and this is, I know that WhatsApp should not be part of the teaching, but it has helped me immensely, because I don't know what it is, whether it's the class, but I've noticed across the class and with my as well, but students, maybe because they're on lockdown, maybe before too, they forget things. They do forget. So we are constantly reminding them. So when activity is due, I send them a WhatsApp and I say, hey, this is due tomorrow. Did you remember? Oh, yes, miss, thank you. And they do it. So with this, actually, with the WhatsApp communication, I have had an improvement in actually, first of all, a better conversation with my students, meaning that those shy people, you know, like go outside the class and don't even send the email, but they contact me immediately and say, can you please re-explain this? How do I do this? And I actually take the time to explain. Sometimes I video myself via WhatsApp and I send them again a video saying, you need to do this, or, you know, like further clarification. And then it has improved their performance of quite a bit, I would say. And then you've got this 1 or 2, which is lost cases, but it always happens. So, and this is what I do behind their back. Oh, this is like an amazing tool, the Blackboard statistics tool. I love it all the time. You know, like normally I would write the time in which students come in and out, and I take screenshots of when they come in and out, because, you know, it's important to know. Although I'm not really strict with that, but I do reward them for being on time. So, and I do reward them to see how much they are working on something, you know, so I always check this before I finally grade them, you know, before the end of the reports. What else? This is material. Okay, so my material, the material, it's handmade, as I said. I am very proud of the material because I've been here 7 years. And when I first came, I mean, my background is in art, of course, but I'm from Italy. So I studied Western art, and guess what? Roman art, Italian art mostly. So it goes down. And so when I came here, I was like, oh, I don't really know much about it. But I started, and I like art history a lot. So I started learning, and I've been really interactive with my own self. I've been going to the desert. I don't know if you know, but there are like lots of sites with actual prehistoric excavation here in UAE. So I've been to the sites, I've been photographing the site. This picture here is my own picture. So I went to Kalbe and I took the picture of this incision, this petroglyph on the rock, which are there. It's amazing. Some of it is, of course, from internet. Then when we go, my husband and I go to museums, I do take pictures. This is my own picture from Muscat. This is a cuneiform tablet from Muscat as well. And then there are like lots of, they're not, this is the thing here is, it's like it's coming up, but no one really knows about it because it's such a new country, but they're like, there is amazing, material to discuss, especially in prehistoric art. So I like doing all this side research and going to places, taking pictures and stuff. And the material and the videos, also I do the videos. I have to be honest with you, I tried Beyond and I don't feel quite comfortable with it. So it's the editing part. I find myself much more faster with my own software. I use Premiere to edit videos and to do, I don't know, like, so I'm not a filmmaker, but like we are people, so we know how to use Premiere and we have all access to this fancy software. So I prefer much more to use this also because we can cut, we can, like have effects, zoom in, zoom out, fade in, fade out. And I think the quality with this kind of software is much better than what's the name of it?
Beyond.
Beyond, no, sorry. Oh my God, I've got the one that I would discuss before. No, Beyond is amazing. The Panopto, sorry, the Panopto.
Oh, Panopto.
Yeah, no, Beyond is also amazing. I really like it. And last year, I was actually interacting with a puppet. And I created a number of videos, and then I had the puppet interacting with them. And this year, I look at them and I said, oh my God, I hate this puppet. So I started deleting the puppet again because the puppet is there. And I think that it was fun, but it's a sort of distraction because then you look at the puppet and you don't look at the slide. And then you will see, I have a colleague, Ulrike, that she's from the German department. Mashallah, her videos are amazing. But the thing is, I think that with the video, you need to, how to say, like mine is art history, right? So when you have something, it needs to be very focused on the content. So you have one picture and having the puppet showing and jumping around is too distractive. And it is better to have the slide with a picture and me talking over it. Whereas my colleague Ulrike has her own puppet explaining things. But in her case, it works. I actually see what she means with that. Whereas in my case, I thought it was distraction. So I started deleting all the puppets from the presentation. So this is a screenshot of the video I've created. And some of them have still the puppet, but I'm trying to delete them. So, of course, technology is, again, I use, it's the same as the beginning. I basically use the Blackboard as a management system. And I use, as everybody, I believe, except for when we don't have internet, but it happened only once, we do have the virtual Blackboard. and we create daily sessions. Mine are titled week 1, week 2, week 2, week 3 session, week 1, session 1, week 2, session 2, and so on. And are available for them the 2 weeks as we were told, which is good enough because, you know, they can also take note. And in terms of learning, learning support, I don't know, I really did not know with learning support what you meant, but I thought about the special need. So in terms of special need, I did have students with special needs, not in this course actually, but I did have a blind student. That was so much hard work, but not in this class, in a different class. So, you know, like at the beginning of the course, we tell them, we say, you know, if you have any special need, if you please let us know. There is a link that you need to follow and you need to talk to your supervisor. And normally what they do, they send me a private email. It happened twice. I had a blind person and I had a person also with a visual impairment, and she was getting help and they both managed successfully. So no problem.
Yeah, for this, it's something we're bringing in as part of the Quality Matters framework for future courses that are being developed. So we added it in for the reports that are done now, like your course that's already finished, but it's a little bit unfair from our side in that you're being asked to think about something or cater to something that wasn't included whenever you were starting the development of your course, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
And I can imagine, especially for an art class like this, it's very, very difficult if you've got a student who's visually impaired or blind. You know, how can you critique a picture or learn about art styles if they can't actually see it? So it's an extra challenge for this, more so than maybe a science course or a law course or something like that.
I actually have no idea how actually is it possible to teach them art, because art is all visual. I never had this student in an art course. I was teaching foreign language and I had a blind student I used to teach Italian here at university. So it was actually such a hard work because I did create podcasts for her, only for her. And it took half of my time of the planning. It basically was like preparing 2 classes. So I do believe that for certain students, they need a huge amount of extra help. And of course, this is, if you do have a student like that, there is much more time involved in the preparation of the class, also because you want to try to help them. And the other case I had this was really funny because I also said, how can you take a course like this? I'm teaching digital messages, which is Photoshop. So they need to learn Photoshop and Illustrator. And there was this half-blind student. She had a visual impairment, meaning she could look straight, but she didn't see straight. She saw peripheral vision. It was really weird. So when I was looking at her, she would look at me like this because she could see me from the side.
So these are all things I think going forward for any more courses, we're kind of expanding our team, and we'll try and give more support or more focus on things like this, you know, for how to overcome it. But like you say, it's one of those things where it can kind of double the amount of time that you're required to do in your preparation of stuff, and it's, you know, it's just a balancing act for the odd time that it happens compared to the amount of work that's involved for doing it as well.
No, because once you have someone like this, because with this student, the impairment student, basically I had to find a suitable software for her because she couldn't use the keyboard. She couldn't see the keyboard because she was typing in and maybe she wanted to type A, for example. So we had to find a user-friendly, and she could do this, but again, her work was not as high standard as the other. However, you know, like we all helped her because she was trying to do her best. But yeah, it is an issue because, I mean, like also technology is not that easy for, how can you create something if you cannot see it?
Yeah, I mean, that's right.
It's not my, it's not my expertise at all, but I've had experience with such students. So anyway, so this is the learner support side. And in my 102 class, I didn't have any, unless I don't know about it, but I don't. They seem to be all right. Maybe yeah, these are okay students. And then I do have, like when I do have problems with them, or when they have problems. For example, in this class, I had an issue with one lady. And again, I don't know whether she's telling the truth or not, but we have this like drama cases in which one of my students, her name is Aliasia, she didn't turn to class twice, and she had a presentation to make. And I said, Aliasia, if you don't turn to class and if you don't present, I need to give you 0, because it's 2 times you are postponing, and this is not fair on just, like, oh, miss, I can't talk. I'm having an issue. Okay, but you need to tell me. So she sent me a photo on WhatsApp with her in hospital bed with a flare, like I don't know, like not half dead, but like with like blood being taken out from her arm. I said, what's going on? Like she freaked me out. And then we had a meeting later on, and she said that she was operated. But of course, like no information prior to the operation about this. So you have this very dodgy cases in which students do not communicate with you. You get upset with them because they don't deliver. And then they have this, like cases in which, I don't know, they feel afraid of communicating to you, which is their personal life, of course. So we get this all the time. So we try to have this sorting out of problems through email and WhatsApp. Again, here they like to talk to me privately, mostly WhatsApp or private Zoom meetings, which has happened. So then in terms of extra learner support, I give them, for example, if I see that they don't understand stuff, and I explain, which is in this case, I explain to them an analysis, and they're very poor in analysis, I still upload readings for them, although I don't know if they read them. I mean, is not a must, not yet, okay, because they have enough work to do. But if they really want to improve their own style, I always tell them, like, you should read this example, and it will help you clarify. I do believe there is a huge difference between students and their proactiveness. Like, if I say to them, read this example in your own time, maybe out of 5, this is what I'm noticing, out of 5, maybe 1 or 2 will do. What I notice is I really need to spoon feed them with the information. I mean, if I tell them, do this, read this for your own sake, I notice the next time when I present something and I ask them, so what did you understand from this? Nobody knows. So did you watch this? No. So, like it's, it's a very difficult, it's teachers or instructors having to repeat themselves many times and actually force material into students. I've noticed this is the most effective strategy at this point. And then, of course, this is again support with via WhatsApp. So my concerns. Okay, this is the last slide. Alhamdulillah, last time. Okay, so
well, at least it's not 10 slides of concerns. You had me a little bit worried whenever you mentioned that at the start. I thought we were going to have another, like a big long list. It seems like we're getting off lightly.
No, also because I try to like ask for a specific point, so some information is also repeated in the way that this is actually a work that I did for myself to clarify my own teaching strategies. And then the concerns, no, these are minimal. And to be honest, it's to do with myself, but also with the class I have. The first is this class that I have is actually challenging, meaning that, as I told you before, it's a very small number class. So I don't have this like flexibility of having so many activities done because there are 3 students. The problem is there was registration got blocked for the whole week at the beginning of last term for so many art courses. So for this specific course, it was not open until Thursday. So nobody actually enrolled to the course until Thursday. And of course, I had to send emails to my students, look, this course is open, something to do with administration. So at the end, what I get is 3 students. I could have had maybe 20 or 30, but here we are, 3 students. And the performance of the students is so-and-so. So what I asked them, and I did not actually have any written, you know, like documentation about that, but I know because I've asked them. I should have made a survey probably, but I did not. But I asked them, do you like the videos? How do you feel with the video? And they all said that it's actually very amazing. The way in which the video is structured. They like learning through the video because they can do it in their own time and they understand and they can pause it. So from the video, I had really good feedback. And also I made activities, you know, like quizzes from the video. So, and this is just a remark. I don't know if it's like a concern. It's not really a concern, but this is, you know, like, because this class should be very much interactive class. But also my remark is, in order to have an interactive class, you first need to teach some material to students. So in the first part of the course, I noticed that it was a lot of me teaching the students on how to do. Like, if I don't teach them the basics, like I don't teach them how to see art or to assess art, it's very difficult for them to actually try to discuss. I mean, this is humanities. So one of the weakest points for students, as we know in humanities, is actually write and discuss. They have very little fantasy on how to elaborate on a concept. So one of my main tasks is look at a picture and discuss it for 5 minutes. What? Never. So, you know, like, and I asked, what do you see in the picture? Can you describe a picture? Everybody can describe a picture, right? But this is actually lacking. So I need actually to sit down with them and give an example. And then, can you do it yourself? And they are shy and they don't do it. And then again, an example again. So there is a lot of time in week number 2, week number 3, week number 4, also, which I actually go over things over and over again in order to make them, I don't know, understand the topic or feel familiar with the topic. And then from then they can, with small steps, they can try to create their own, you know, like their own presentation. But it is actually very challenging because they really have no background in the arts. So it's really difficult for them to actually express themselves. And I'm really grateful to this speaking centers. I always tell them, go to the speaking center, go to the writing center, go here, go there. Again, I wonder whether they do it, but it kind of helps somehow, but I don't know to which extent they do this, you see.